Anti-aging explained. What science actually says about slowing down time. Same age, completely different bodies. One thing explains both. It's not the cream. Two people, same birthday, same number of years on this earth. One looks and feels a decade older than the other. The difference is not luck. It is not genetics, at least, not mostly. And it is almost certainly not the $200 serum they're selling you. It is biology. It is habits. And it is a handful of scientific discoveries in the last 5 years that are fundamentally changing what we think aging even is. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand aging differently than you did when you pressed play. Here is the context before we go any further. According to United Nations World Population Prospects 2024, the number of individuals aged 65 and over is expected to double from 761 million in 2021 to 1.6 billion in the next 2 to 3 decades. We are living longer. That is the good news. But here is the question that longevity science is now obsessing over. Not how long do we live, but how well do we live while we're here. The gap between your lifespan, how long you live, and your health span, how long you live in good health, is the real frontier of anti-aging research. And the science of 2025 and 2026 is not asking, can we live to 100? Anymore. It is asking, can we make 80 feel like 60 used to? And the answer, increasingly, is yes, if you understand what aging actually is. Here is what we're covering today: the biology of aging, the myths costing you time and money, the habits with the strongest evidence base, the emerging science changing everything, and what you can start doing tonight. Let's go. Section 1. What is aging? The biology behind the process. Most people think aging is just time passing. It is not. Aging is a set of biological processes happening inside your cells, and scientists have now identified the specific mechanisms driving it. These include genomic instability, telomere attrition, epigenetic alterations, loss of proteostasis, mitochondrial dysfunction, cellular senescence, stem cell exhaustion, altered intercellular communication, and dysregulated nutrient sensing. That is a lot of science words. Let me translate them into things you can actually picture. Hallmark 1. Telomere shortening. Every time a cell divides, the protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes, called telomeres, get slightly shorter. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. When they wear down, the shoelace frays. The discovery of telomerase and its connection to cellular senescence is one of the most encouraging scientific milestones in longevity research, because it tells us that telomere length is not purely fixed. It is influenced by lifestyle, stress, sleep, and exercise in ways that are now measurable. Hallmark 2. Cellular senescence. When a cell becomes too damaged to divide safely, it does not always die. Sometimes it enters a zombie-like state called senescence. It stops functioning properly but releases a toxic cocktail of inflammatory molecules called the SASP, senescence-associated secretory phenotype. Longevity science has identified cellular senescence as a fundamental driver of aging, with breakthrough therapies now targeting these dysfunctional cells to potentially reverse biological aging. These zombie cells accumulate with age and drive inflammation in surrounding tissues, contributing to cardiovascular disease, neurodegeneration, and metabolic decline. Hallmark 3. Mitochondrial dysfunction. Your mitochondria are your cellular power plants, producing ATP, the energy currency of every cell. As you age, mitochondrial efficiency declines. Energy production drops. Oxidative stress rises. The downstream effects touch every organ: heart, brain, muscle, skin. Hallmark 4. Epigenetic drift. Your genes do not change with age, but the patterns of which genes get switched on and off, controlled by chemical marks on your DNA called the epigenome, drift progressively over time. Epigenetic reprogramming of adult cells into pluripotent states is an encouraging scientific milestone addressing key signaling pathways of aging. This is the hallmark that has generated the most excitement in 2025, because it suggests that biological age is not a one-way street. Here is the critical insight threading all of this together: your chronological age, the number of years since you were born, is fixed. Your biological age, how old your cells actually are, is not. Researchers at Monash University reported in 2024 that higher intake of ultra-processed foods was associated with faster biological aging. Every 10% increase in ultra-processed food intake was linked to a 2.4-month rise in the gap between biological and chronological age. Your lifestyle is writing the date on your biology every single day. Section 2. Myths versus facts. What the anti-aging industry is not telling you. The global anti-aging market is worth over $100 billion and growing. And a significant portion of it is built on things that do not work the way you are being told they do. Let's fix that. Myth 1. Expensive creams reverse skin aging. Fact. UV light can account for up to 80% of visible signs of skin aging, far more than any topical product can address. The ingredients that do have genuine evidence behind them are not expensive secrets. Retinoids boost collagen production. Vitamin C fights UV-induced oxidative damage. Hyaluronic acid hydrates skin from within. SPF blocks the UV radiation responsible for the majority of visible aging. Some of the best ingredients for skin and anti-aging are retinoids, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid, and the most important part of a product is its active ingredients, not its branding or celebrity endorsement. Myth 2. Aging is mostly genetic, not much you can do. Fact. Genetics accounts for roughly 20 to 25% of how you age. The remaining 75 to 80% is determined by lifestyle, environment, and behavior. Adherence to low-risk lifestyle factors including regular physical activity, a balanced diet, and non-smoking has been associated with significant increases in life expectancy. Your DNA loads the gun. Your habits pull the trigger. Or don't. Myth 3. Anti-aging is a women's issue. Fact. Most anti-aging advertising targets women, but men suffer significant adverse effects from aging too, including declining testosterone, loss of muscle mass, cognitive changes, sleep disruption, and increased cardiovascular risk. Biological aging is universal. The conversation should be too. Myth 4. Supplements alone can reverse aging. Fact. Supplements are tools, not magic. Some have genuine emerging evidence behind them. We'll cover those in section 4. But no pill replaces sleep, movement, and diet. The research is consistent. The foundation always comes first. Myth 5. Looking older means you're less healthy. Fact. Skin age and biological age are correlated, but not identical. Skin is perhaps the most visible sign of one's health, but genetic predispositions, hormonal factors, and sun exposure influence visible aging independently of overall biological age. Someone with deep sun damage may look older while being metabolically younger than someone with smooth skin who never exercises. Appearance is a clue, not the diagnosis. Which myth surprised you most? Drop it in the comments, I want to know. Section 3. The habits that actually slow aging. This is the section that matters most to most people watching, because the most powerful anti-aging tools available right now are not in a clinic or a laboratory. They are in your daily routine. Habit 1. Sleep. The master reset. Sleep is not passive rest. It is the single most powerful biological recovery process your body has access to. During deep sleep, your brain clears toxic waste products, including amyloid beta, through the glymphatic system. Your body releases peak levels of growth hormone, which drives cellular repair. Inflammatory markers reset. Cortisol, the primary aging accelerator when chronically elevated, drops to its lowest point. A 2024 National Sleep Foundation consensus statement found that greater screen use around bedtime is consistently associated with worse sleep health, and nighttime screen habits chip away at the deep, restorative sleep that keeps the immune system, skin, mood, and cognition on track. Sleep deprivation accelerates telomere shortening. It increases SASP inflammatory markers. It raises biological age in measurable, documented ways. The action: 7 to 9 hours. Consistent sleep and wake time. Phone out of the bedroom. Cool dark room. This is not optional wellness advice. It is cellular maintenance. Habit 2. Exercise. The only true anti-aging pill. If you could bottle the anti-aging effects of regular exercise into a drug, it would be the most prescribed medication in medical history. Regular exercise is associated with increased blood flow to the skin, elevated skin temperature, and improved skin moisture, and has been shown to improve skin structure and rejuvenate its appearance, possibly through promoting mitochondrial biosynthesis and affecting hormone secretion. Beyond skin. Exercise activates AMPK and SIRT1, two of the most studied longevity pathways in biology. SGLT2 inhibitors and other metabolic interventions that activate these pathways have been linked in research to reduced markers of senescence, improved cardiovascular function, and enhanced mitochondrial health. Strength training specifically counteracts the muscle loss, sarcopenia, that accelerates biological aging from the 4th decade onward. Aerobic exercise extends telomere length measurably in long-term practitioners. The action: 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week. 2 to 3 sessions of resistance training. Consistency over intensity, always. Habit 3. Nutrition. Eating against your biological clock. Food is not just fuel. It is information, sent to your genes, your mitochondria, and your inflammatory pathways with every single meal. Every 10% increase in ultra-processed food intake is linked to a 2.4-month acceleration in biological age, per Monash University 2024 research. What the evidence consistently supports for longevity: Mediterranean dietary pattern, high in colorful vegetables, olive oil, legumes, whole grains, fatty fish, and nuts. Associated in multiple long-term studies with reduced all-cause mortality, lower dementia risk, and slower biological aging. Adequate protein, particularly important over 40, when muscle protein synthesis becomes less efficient. Protein intake supports muscle mass, one of the strongest predictors of healthy longevity. Caloric moderation without obsession, not starvation, but avoiding chronic caloric surplus. Caloric restriction mimetics including spermidine and alpha-ketoglutarate enhance mitochondrial function, activate autophagy, the cellular cleaning process, and reprogram energy metabolism in ways that extend lifespan in multiple model organisms. Colorful plants, rich in carotenoids, polyphenols, and antioxidants. Carotenoids have demonstrated significant antioxidative, anti-inflammatory, and photoprotective properties in human skin aging studies through 2025. Habit 4. Stress management and social connection. Chronic psychological stress is a documented biological aging accelerator, elevating cortisol, increasing inflammatory markers, shortening telomeres, and impairing immune function. Strong social relationships have been associated with a greater likelihood of survival, while chronic loneliness increases the risk of mortality at levels comparable to those for smoking or obesity. The anti-aging benefit of meaningful social connection is not metaphorical. It is biochemical. It shows up in telomere length measurements. It shows up in cortisol profiles. It shows up in dementia incidence data. The action: prioritize relationships with the same seriousness you give sleep and exercise. They are not lifestyle accessories. They are longevity variables. Section 4. The emerging science. What's actually happening in labs right now? Now the frontier. The science that is not mainstream yet, but that 2025 and 2026 are pushing rapidly toward clinical reality. NAD+ and cellular energy restoration. NAD+, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is a coenzyme in every cell of your body, essential for mitochondrial energy production and DNA repair. NAD+ levels decline by approximately 50% between ages 40 and 60. Studies on NAD+ boosters show promise for boosting cell energy, and clinical trials are now testing their safety and effectiveness in people. NAD+ precursors, NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and NR, nicotinamide riboside, raise intracellular NAD+ levels measurably in human trials. Whether this translates into meaningful longevity benefits in humans is the active research question. Early data is promising. Definitive long-term human trials are ongoing. Senolytics, clearing zombie cells. This is one of the most exciting areas in all of longevity research. Senolytics, compounds like dasatinib plus quercetin, selectively eliminate senescent cells, reducing inflammation and improving tissue function across 70+ age-related conditions. Recent advances have focused on three strategies: senolytics, eliminating senescent cells; senomorphics, inhibiting the SASP without killing cells; and senoreversion, rejuvenating senescent cells via epigenetic reprogramming. Quercetin is naturally found in apples, onions, and capers, foods with genuine biochemical relevance to the senolytic pathway. Clinical trials in humans using quercetin-based protocols are currently running, with early results showing reductions in senescence biomarkers. Epigenetic reprogramming, reversing biological age. This is perhaps the most philosophically radical development in aging science. Epigenetic reprogramming of adult cells into pluripotent states addresses key signaling pathways of aging, including rapamycin, and raises the genuine scientific possibility that biological age could be partially reversed rather than merely slowed. Companies including Altos Labs and Calico, backed by billions in funding, are developing partial reprogramming approaches using Yamanaka factors to reset epigenetic age in cells without causing them to lose their identity. In 2025, this work is preclinical, primarily in animal models. But the scientific principle has been demonstrated. The clock can, in certain contexts, be run backward. AI-accelerated drug discovery. A 2025 study by Scripps Research showed AI's power in aging research, finding that over 70% of compounds selected by AI-made model organisms live longer, and that AI not only identified existing drugs but created novel compounds that outperformed known ones. The pace of longevity science is accelerating faster than at any point in history, because artificial intelligence can now search the biological landscape for intervention targets in hours rather than decades. The honest caveat: most of these interventions are years away from human clinical availability. But the trajectory is clear, and the foundational biology supporting them is sound. Section 5. Your anti-aging protocol: what to actually do. Everything we've covered comes down to this: a practical, evidence-ranked protocol you can start implementing this week. Non-negotiable foundations. Start here. Checkmark: sleep 7 to 9 hours consistently. Same wake time every day. Phone out of the bedroom. This single habit influences telomeres, cortisol, growth hormone, amyloid clearance, and skin repair simultaneously. Checkmark: move your body daily. 150 minutes of aerobic activity per week. 2 to 3 strength sessions. Walk after meals. Activate AMPK and SIRT1, your built-in longevity pathways. Checkmark: eat mostly whole foods. Mediterranean pattern as a framework. Colorful vegetables at every meal. Adequate protein, especially over 40. Minimize ultra-processed foods. They are documented biological age accelerators. Checkmark: protect your skin from UV. UV light accounts for up to 80% of visible skin aging. SPF daily is the highest leverage cosmetic intervention available, and it is inexpensive. Checkmark: manage chronic stress actively. Breathing practices, time in nature, meaningful relationships, adequate recovery. Chronic cortisol is a documented accelerant of every aging hallmark. Evidence-supported additions. Retinol or retinoids for skin, the most evidence-backed topical anti-aging ingredient category available. Vitamin C and D supplementation if dietary intake or sun exposure is insufficient. Omega-3 fatty acids, documented anti-inflammatory and telomere protective effects. Resistance training, the single most effective intervention for counteracting sarcopenia and its downstream effects on metabolic health. Emerging, worth watching, not yet prescribing, NMN, NR supplementation. Quercetin-based senolytic protocols. Rapamycin, mTOR inhibition, prescription only, significant medical supervision required. Epigenetic age testing for tracking biological age. The real anti-aging philosophy. Here is the honest truth about anti-aging that the industry does not want to sell you. The most powerful anti-aging interventions in existence are free. Sleep, movement, food quality, relationships, sun protection, stress management. The emerging science, senolytics, NAD plus restoration, epigenetic reprogramming, is genuinely exciting and may extend what is possible in the coming decades. But it will always build on the foundation of these fundamentals, not replace them. You cannot out-supplement a life of poor sleep. You cannot out-serum a diet of ultra-processed food. You cannot out-biotech chronic loneliness. What you can do, starting today, is make decisions that tell your biology, we are investing in the long game. One night of good sleep, one workout, one meal, one walk at a time. The science is clear. The biology is responsive. The clock is not fixed. You just have to choose to wind it differently. If this video gave you something real, one new thing you understood about your biology, one habit you're reconsidering, one myth you can stop spending money on, like it. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps more people find science-backed content instead of $200 cream advertising. Subscribe. We cover longevity, health science, and the biology of living well every week. Clear, evidence-based, human. Comment below. I want to know, what is your one non-negotiable anti-aging habit? Or what surprised you most in this video? I read and reply to every comment. Share this with one person who needs to hear it, someone spending money on things that don't work, or someone who thinks aging is out of their control. It isn't, and now they'll know why. See you in the next one.